Whenever someone asks me the question, which camera is the best camera, the only honest answer, like good answer I can give them is whichever camera gets the shot. Sometimes that camera is your phone. Sometimes that camera is a Sony. And sometimes that camera's a Lumix. Now, over the last month, since I got back from Japan a little over a month ago, we've shot every single video on this channel on the new Lumix S5 Mark II. Even though I have this $6,500 8K Sony A1. This is what we used to shoot all of our videos on, by the way. And it's not because the footage on this camera looks so much better than the footage on this camera. They're both great cameras. Almost any camera, especially full frame cameras like these that you buy nowadays, they're gonna look great. The difference is that this camera has a couple features that allow me to get the shots that this one is missing. So, being a longtime Sony user, like a solid Sony user, I have, hold on a second. Eight full frame Sony cameras. And now using the Lumix for a couple months now, I wanna share with you why we've been using this camera primarily and what the differences are between this and the camera I'm used to. Some of them good, some of the differences not so good. We'll get into it. Hey, first let me clarify something. I'm not in a long-term sponsorship with Lumix. Like, they don't pay me to use their cameras. This video, however, is sponsored by Lumix. So I'll tell you what I tell you in all of my sponsored videos. I plan on being completely honest about my experience with this camera as a Sony user. In fact, Lumix, that's the whole reason Lumix wanted to work with me. They wanted me to be brutally honest coming from Sony and trying this out. But if you are interested in buying this camera, what I would recommend you do is after you're done watching this video, go watch a couple other videos, some non-sponsored videos, some videos from creators who may have had different experiences than myself. That's just a good general practice before making a big purchase anyway. So let's jump into the camera. So we use two typical categories of shots in our videos. We have our main shots or our A-roll shots. Like this is an A-roll shot right here. I'm talking to you, the camera's on a tripod, we're picking it up with a microphone, it's shot in 24 FPS. Then we have our pretty shots or our B-roll shots. And these could be product shots. These could be slow-mo cinematic shots. These kind of shots can give life and context to a video. But 99% of the footage that I shoot is A-roll shots. There we go. Let's get that in focus. That's better. This is important, okay? Commit this to memory. We're gonna come back to it later, okay? First thing, top of the list, main reason why I use this camera is this camera shoots taller footage. It's called open gate. When I use my Sonys or my Canons or really any other camera, when I switch from photo to video, it crops the top and the bottom of the footage to 16:9, which is the way we normally watch videos. It just turns the pixels off. It doesn't use them, which hasn't really been a problem until now, where every YouTuber also needs to have YouTube Shorts and TikToks and Reels and a bunch of different kinds of vertical video. Being able to shoot in open gate, that taller format, has a number of advantages. In this case, namely, the ability to convert your YouTube videos into vertical videos. Let me show you. This is our footage here cropped into 16:9, like a typical camera. The video's done, it's on YouTube, it's getting views, but I wanna cut some of the portions of the video into vertical video. I want it to get more exposure, right? This right here is what I would have to crop into. This is what it would look like converting that video into a TikTok. Now this is the full open gate footage that the Lumix is currently shooting. We still crop the top and bottom for YouTube videos, but as we're converting this footage into a short, we can use this extra vertical real estate so that the TikTok doesn't have to be quite so cropped in. And now you can see that the vertical video isn't quite as cramped as it was before. Honestly, absolute game changer for content creators. I can't believe this is the only consumer camera that does that. OpenGate is also great if you aim the camera too high or low when you're going handheld, like this shot right here, which we were able to fix and post later. It's also great for anamorphic footage, which is what we use when we shoot almost all of our Stream Beats music videos. OpenGate's one of those things that I didn't know I wanted until I used it, and now I can't go back. And to make things even crazier, it's not just OpenGate, it's 6K OpenGate. That's about twice as many pixels as 4K footage. Seriously, 4K is 12 megapixels, 6K is about 24 megapixels. This means that all those zoom ins and zoom outs that we do, especially if I get a shot like this, I can zoom all the way into here and it's still 4K. Or if the shot's super crooked, like this one was in the last Lumix video, I can fix the whole thing and not lose any resolution. Basically, 6K combined with OpenGate gives me extra flexibility and versatility in everything that I shoot. Like when we were at Disneyland Tokyo in Japan, I brought my Sony A1, and everything that I shot, do I want to shoot this horizontally or am I going to use it for vertical stuff? And sometimes I just shot it once horizontally and then switched and shot the same thing vertically as fast as I could. I don't ever have to make that decision when shooting anymore. And that's nice. Difference number 2, and this is kind of a big one, the price. You can build a spec'd out camera. Almost every camera company has their crazy premium expensive cameras. Like this Sony shoots 8K and shoots 50 megapixel pictures, but then you have to make the price $6,500. So if you want something more affordable, like the $3,500 A7S III, it's 4K, 12 megapixels. Still a great camera, but you get what you pay for. But that's what kind of blows my mind and makes this camera a pretty big recommendation for me. It's between those two cameras. It's 6K, 24 megapixels, and it's $2,000. There are some trade-offs, and we'll get to those in the end, but 6K open gate for $2,000 makes this my absolute top recommendation for YouTubers who are looking to get some more professional gear. Let's get to a downer. If this isn't gonna be a biased video, we have to have a downer. Difference number 3, lenses. I love lenses. It's kind of a problem. I mean, if I see this orange badge on the side, I gotta have it. Lumix's lens lineup doesn't quite hit the same. Now, they are a part of the L-Mount Alliance, which is kind of like an open source software situation where third-party lens manufacturers like Sigma, for example, are considered first party. And Sigma makes some great glass. I own a bunch of their lenses. I even have learned to enjoy these non-flashy little Lumix lenses. We use this 18mm in most of the videos on the channel, but man, these G-Master lenses, I can't say that I don't miss them. Yeah, number 4, we're gonna bundle a couple like quick features together. We're gonna call it quality of life feature bundle. First, new autofocus. They finally added phase detect autofocus to these cameras, and it's fantastic. That was the biggest reason people refused to buy Lumix cameras, is they had like contrast autofocus and it wasn't very good, so no content creators would use it. All fixed now. Also, shutter angle. Some of you might not know what this is, but if you do know, then you know. Like being able to hold on to that 180-degree shutter angle no matter what frame rate you're at, big deal. And last thing in the bundle, this thing never overheats, mostly due to this neat little hidden vent right there. Can you see it? You see it up there? There we go. Anyone who's used the Sony ZV-E1, which is probably the main competitor to this camera since it's $2,200, knows that you can't shoot 4K with that thing for more than 30 minutes without it overheating. And I don't think I've ever shot a video in less than 30 minutes. My editor Dustin tested this, and he filmed 6K open gate on this thing for 3 hours in direct sunlight. No overheating. All right, back to the main list. Number 5, this is an interesting one. You can live stream directly from the camera. Like this is specific to the blacked out version that I've got right here. This is the S5 IIX, but you can live stream directly to Twitch or YouTube straight from the camera like this. Dustin has tried both successfully and the streams look fantastic. You do have to enter a stream key on here, which is not the best experience, but you only have to do it once. Then, as long as the camera's connected to Wi-Fi or your phone's hotspot, you can live stream anywhere. This is probably the best way to get a super high quality IRL stream, up to 1080-60. Like no backpack, no cables, just the camera. It's super cool. If you're streaming on YouTube, you're supposed to be able to sign into Google on your phone and then send the information over to the camera, but we tried that for a while, kept getting a ton of errors.
Son of a bitch. I'm just gonna type it in manually.
I ended up giving up on the app and just plugging in the stream key right on the camera. Like it takes a while, but it's more reliable. You got a little bit of work to do on the app, Lumix. Speaking of the app though, if you've ever tried updating a camera's firmware, you and I both know it can be an absolute nightmare. This one, you connect it to the Lumix Sync app, you push the firmware update button, it downloads it to the phone, sends it to the camera, and then the firmware just updates. Last time I updated my FX3, I not only had to install software on my computer, but then I had to boot my MacBook into recovery mode and change the security settings on a kernel level, which I'm not 100% sure what that's gonna do, but I'm pretty sure my computer's super vulnerable right now. It took a couple hours just to update my camera. Love the updating process on this thing. Also love that they just send out updates. They've already released massive updates for this. I've had my Sony A1, again, the $6,500 camera, for like 2 years now. Never once gotten an update for it. What's that about? So look, back to this. At the end of the day, this is still a $2,000 camera, and there are trade-offs for it. The big one for me is if you want to shoot slow-mo footage, like 4K 60 footage, it does add a pretty big crop, a 1.5 times crop. So have I completely dropped Sony for Lumix? I'm sure Lumix would love it if I said yes in this video, but no, I haven't. I just use whichever camera gets the shot. And 99% of the time, remember this? You memorized this. 99% of the time, it's shots like this, or this, or this. And these shots are all way better in 6K open gate, which is why I use the Lumix for 99% of my shots. But when I know I'm gonna go out and shoot a cinematic slow-mo shot, I'm gonna grab my Sony FX3. It's just that I do that so rarely that I haven't actually gone to pick up one of my Sony cameras since I started shooting with this Lumix. So look, the camera is half the price. It dramatically upgraded these shots, and it moderately downgraded these shots. What do you think? Is that worth the camera switch? Do you think that's fair? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, hit the like button because you watched this far. I know you like the video. And as always, happy streaming.